Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning into the DWFU. We are here with Sue Bryce, and today we're going to talk to her about glamour and portrait. Thank you so much.
Glamour in the 80s was generally two lights, two umbrellas, or a softbox, two softboxes, a soft focus filter, with a vignette also. We used to shoot on the medium format Hasselblad, so film, and we had a soft focus filter. We had 3 levels of soft focus filter and a vignette, and we shot with studio lights, and it was very soft. And then all of the styling, of course, was done from head and shoulders with 5 very distinct glamour positions. And it was a huge genre. It was one of the biggest genres in the world in photography at the time. It had to be big because it died. It died so badly that we weren't even allowed to say the word, and so many people hear glamour as a negative connotation. I would like to just bring that back, but just the modern version of it. I tried for many years. When everybody said not to do it, I carried on doing it. I tried for many years to call it something else. I thought I'll call it boudoir, but it's not. I thought I would call it contemporary portrait. That works for a while. But the truth is when I say glamour, it's so heavily genre identified that you already know what I'm talking about. And then you pull this horrible face, like, ew, and then you see my work and you change your mind and you go, wow. But I've already informed you because you're already educated as to what it is. So in terms of my market already knows. All I had to do was be very visual in my marketing in terms with multiple images. And that way they would understand immediately, I know what glamour is, but it's, oh, no, this is really cool. So I just kind of changed it. I shoot natural light only, no more soft focus filters. I shoot on 5D Mark II and the 1D Mark IV. I shoot with polystyrene or styrofoam reflectors with natural light, nice and close to the window. Shoot a lot of flat, broad lighting to the face, just like a beauty dish would. But this is my rule. When I see a skinny young girl with flashlight, I think fashion. Straight away I think Vogue, and you can flash that in a million different ways. When I see an everyday woman in flashlight, I think 80s glamour. So I went out of my way to pull away the flash and shoot natural light for the last 15 years. And I think that makes a significant difference to what I do. I think the natural light aspect of the glamour gives it that vibe, that more sort of Vanity Fair, portrait. The hardest part about having a styrofoam collection in my studio is you can't travel with it. So what I did was I cut one of my thin styrofoam boards into 8 pieces that fits the size of my large suitcase, and it sits just under the lid of my suitcase, and I can actually put them around. Recently I found myself in San Francisco doing a shoot, and it was a beautiful shoot, and her husband, I found out, was waiting in the lobby downstairs, and I said, tell him to come up. And she said, oh no, he said he'll wait, I want to do this. And I said, no, he should come up because he needs to hold a reflector. And I made him hold a hotel towel, because it was white, up against it. It was so funny. I took a wide shot of them. She's posing in this beautiful outfit and he's holding this white towel. But the truth is any light that you can control is good light. So if you have anything that's white, you can bounce it. And you have to try and just manipulate as much light as possible. When you are a natural light shooter, you don't have the benefit of taking lights and setting them up. So I can only shoot in the hours of daylight. I have spent the first 4 years of my career as a retoucher before Photoshop was invented. So 22 years ago, I started working for a professional art room in a lab that serviced 385 professional photographers in wedding and portrait. And we used to paint with dye blending Kodak dyes onto the image in negative retouching. So I did that for 4 years. I was 22 when I trialled the first version of Photoshop, and I thought it will never take on. I was in the late 90s that my studio flipped from shooting medium format Hasselblad to digital, and with that flip came Photoshop. I spent the next 8 years really spending 40 hours a week on Photoshop because I wanted to be really, really good at what I do. And Photoshop is amazing. So what happened about 3 months ago, I was doing a consultation in a studio of a young newbie photographer. And she showed me some portrait software called Portraiture. It's a retouching software. And I looked at her and I said, "That's disgusting. I can't believe you are going to use that." And she showed it to me and I just swallowed my tongue. I just was so shocked at how good it was. And I was about to employ a new retoucher at the time. And spending $200 on that software saved me spending that a week on employing someone extra to take the extra work that I'm shooting. It is the most amazing skin smoothing software. I put it on, I dial it back a little bit, I have a preset in my actions. I work in Photoshop, not Lightroom, but it does have a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. I put it on my site because I recommended it and it's just amazing. I think it's great. They don't sponsor me or anything. It was just I was so impressed. But the lesson, I hear a lot of older photographers sometimes say, that you think you can't learn something, or you think you can't learn something from a young photographer. I think if you put 100 photographers in the room and they were all newbies, every one of them could teach me something about shooting. Every one of them could teach me something about photography. I don't ever want to be one of those people that stops learning from other people, particularly newer people in the market, because they will keep bringing to our market fresh minds and we get stuck in our ways sometimes, and I don't want to be that old photographer that never changed. So, it's really important that you keep evolving your Photoshop, you keep evolving your studio systems, your sales systems, you keep evolving your price to suit the market. And I actually said it in my platform class here, that it's not the strongest that survive or even the smartest, but the one most adaptable to change. It's a Darwin quote, and I think it's really applicable to the evolution of being a photographer in this industry, because after 22 years I've seen so much change in this industry. If I didn't keep up, I would never, ever, ever have made it to where I am now. So keep evolving, keep bringing in new Photoshop ideas. Always try something new.